everybody, I'm Sean Hilton, owner of Comics Cute, founder of the Kokomo Con, and today I am joined by my good friend Nick Gray.
Hey everybody.
We're going to talk to you about some stuff, and just want to start off with keeping in mind that the words that are coming out of our mouths are not necessarily those that would come out of other people's mouths. We are not. What's the way of disclaiming all this? Yeah, we're not approved of or blah 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 by any political groups or county groups or city groups. They merely put us on, and the minute they decide to cancel us, well, I got other things to do anyway. So, let's get into it. We got dead people. Do you know who's dead?
I do. Well, I know of a person that died.
Who do you got? Let's knock him.
I'll go with yours first.
Well, we'll go with Christopher Plummer, 91-year-old famous Canadian actor of screen and stage. Probably mostly well known for him being the leader of the Von Trapp family in The Sound of Music, escaping the Nazis, which we'll come back into this later, over the mountains to their freedom. Freedom. He has passed away. Guy got to 91 years old and played in a ton of great roles, though. Even though he's probably most well known for
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. If you look up his IMDb,
he has a long
it's
list.
Impressive.
Yeah.
And had a pretty good chunk of life to go with it, so good on him.
When did you start doing this like weird fake news broadcaster voice with the upspeak and the down?
It typically starts off at the beginning of every episode, and it's gone by the time we get to the next segment.
I've never noticed it. I was really hardcore right there.
No, we start off with it, and then it goes away as I get into more conversational tone. But we start off almost seeming like we might be professional.
No, well, that's far from the truth.
It's out the window very quickly. And then who do you got number two?
Well, the other one I know that you're thinking about is Larry Flint.
Okay, Christopher Plummer, Larry Flint, two very different. It's a dichotomy of the institutions here. Here we go. Larry Flint, founder of Hustler, came out, I believe, in 1974 as a direct rival to Playboy. Playboy seen as the more up-class pornography magazine, the Hustler being the more blue-collar version of your pornographic magazines.
Those are interesting descriptions.
Pretty accurate.
All right. Well, he passed away.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know he was still alive.
68. He founded Hustler somewhere in the early 70s, and I think by 78 had been targeted by a serial killer or assassin, and has been in a wheelchair since then.
Yeah.
Famous for his movie Larry Flint versus the People, or The People versus Larry Flint. Interesting cat. Tried to claim he was always on the side of like the First Amendment, things of that nature. And I mean, Ken backed some of that up with some of his stances on things. So, passed away. So, two icons in two very different fields. I don't know who will be missed more. Of course, again, I can't remember the last time Larry Flint was relevant.
I think this may be a Mandela effect moment, but I swear I thought he was already dead.
No, he beat out Hugh.
Yeah.
Hugh got to go first, so he lasted a little longer. But I think Hugh probably had the better life in the overall grand sense of things. So there you have it.
Well, and more entertaining, we talk about WandaVision. Are we doing Marvel?
What do you want? Whatever you want, sir. You're not here all the time. So
I'm not.
Whatever is exciting for you, let's get into it.
I mean, I imagine you guys have already talked about WandaVision quite heavily.
Pretty much every episode. I mean, there's a new one. And
new one tomorrow.
We're filming on Thursday, so we won't have the new one.
We don't have the new Friday episode. But
I think the last episode, again, was the second episode of us seeing the outside world and what's really transpiring. We got some more information, some drops and name drop type things, some hints and
big reveal at the end. Hey, spoilers.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'd seen it by now. I don't know what you're doing if you haven't.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it by now, especially this is going to probably air for a couple days, so at best. So yeah, you get was it Chris Evans or is it Peter Evans? Which one is it?
Chris Evans is it's not
Star-Lord.
No. No.
All right.
Yeah, Captain America. I was like
Chris Pratt.
There's
Gotcha.
a lot of Chris's. I get it.
Man, there's so many.
Yeah, the Chris super team.
The Fox Universe X-Men Quicksilver pops up at the very end. That was kind of a big thing.
Do you think it's actually they're bringing the mutants in this way, or is this just a nod?
There's just a nod because he's got a different look. He's aged up. He's got the accent.
The actor has gotten older.
I'm saying though, but he looks from the last time we saw Phoenix. They've changed him up. They aged him up for this role. He's got a different hairstyle. He's got the Slovakian or whatever it is accent. So Now, it could be a way of doing a parallel thing, but the truth is I don't believe for a second that Feige wants to introduce elements of the Fox X-Men universe into the Marvel universe. He might want to bring over an actor or two that really, Professor X, Magneto, these are actors, Patrick Stewart or whatnot, that you might want to bring over, but those stories are so convoluted and such a mess between the first three and the relaunch and then what happened at the end. It's just
one thing I think
really well.
WandaVision has really proven is that, unfortunately, and Marvel I think overall has proven it a lot, was with any big overarching story, because like Phoenix Saga, Apocalypse, all of that they weren't great because of like, hey, we have an hour and a half to tell this story that really needs 6 hours to really tell, to even attempt to do it justice. I think WandaVision has really shown that it's like the best way to do some of these big stories is like serialized over.
And you still had fans griping about it.
Oh yeah,
they didn't like that very beginning. It was too slow, and they didn't get it.
I think you said it when we were talking the other day that people are now so accustomed to being able to binge watch everything. It's been so long since, but I mean, Disney's been doing it like with Mandalorian. You had a whole week to see your next Mandalorian episode. I kind of like the ability to talk about it, especially with WandaVision, where you have so much going on and little details, and you can rewatch it, or you see a video after the fact and pointing something out and like, was that there? Go back and rewatch it and be like, hey. Yeah. So it's even more so now than I think even because Lost, while we're watching like Lost, and you had to, if you had a DVR at the time, you could go back and rewatch the episode. But it wasn't as common as like now. It's all streaming on demand. I can literally watch it 100 times in 2 days if I wanted to.
Staying with the WandaVision thing, I think the best example is in the episode where Kat Dennings and Jimmy Woo both show up. Those are exciting. Hey, they're there. But if you had binge watched it and you had Kat show up with Jimmy Woo, and then the very next episode, Quicksilver shows up, and you watched it that quickly, the excitement level of getting these new characters would be greatly diminished by the fact that they're one-upping themselves in all these other episodes.
Yeah. You don't have a week to let it really kind of sit in and be like, man, that was really cool.
I mean, if we had watched Mandalorian all in one go, everybody would just be talking about, Luke Skywalker's return. It wouldn't have been about Boba Fett would have been overshadowed.
That Boba Fett, the sandworm.
All that would have been overshadowed by nothing but Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Did you make it to the end yet? And I was like, no, I'm only halfway through.
I can't wait to talk to you about it. So I like having both. I think some shows work with the binge thing, and I think some shows.
I think more situation comedies tend to work better. Or more bingeable, because it doesn't really matter. Like, you're not building drama, you're not building mystery, you're not trying to figure stuff out. You're just, binge watching like little jokes. That's all it is. Yes. Little jokes. At the end of it, it's over.
I just watched Cobra Kai, and we kind of binge watched that. And that one was one again where I felt like it kind of worked. There was some mystery, there was like reveal here or there, and they brought in this third season, they brought in a bunch of actors from previous things, and they shoehorned them all into this one season. But I don't think any of that was so big a deal that it was offset by not being weekly. Mm-hmm. So interesting stuff.
So I guess my very last question to you for WandaVision is there another big bad, or is it just all Wanda? Is there someone else pulling the strings? What is your call?
I think it is
not necessarily Mephisto's the biggest rumor.
I really hope that's not the case. I really hope that the whole deal with the devil thing, messing with her, isn't what we're doing, because he's a character that's going to open up a can of worms. That's not going to work.
With the rumors, they're going to kill off Aunt May. That it kind of lends to Mephisto because that is how.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But it's like, what your thoughts?
My hope is that it is 90% her, and she has been nudged by somebody, not doing like the Purple Man thing from Jessica Jones, really controlling things. More of somebody that's manipulated her.
Boy, that would be a great reveal.
A little bit to do this sort of stuff, instead of just flat out the bad guys controlled her and doing all this. So I'd much rather there be her 90% and then just a tad bit of some outside force that has mentally manipulated her or even emotionally manipulated her into the situation. I do believe that she creates mutants. I think she is going to unleash...
Reverse House of M.
Basically, is what I've been saying from the very beginning, is she'll reverse House of M. Now, with him arriving in that episode, we'll see. But I don't think it'll be the Fox universe directly. I think we'll take, a few actors. Ian McKellen coming over as a Magneto, I could see. Professor Xavier, you've got a couple of great actors. You got a lot of stuff to choose from. But I don't believe that it's in their best interest to bring over any of that continuity. None of that continuity is going to be good for Feige's universe.
I think at the end you're going to see, because this goes right into the multiverse of madness. I think that she shatters the multiverse, and essentially then you get your little box and you shake it up, and the end when they fix it by the end of the Doctor Strange movie, and there's people or things brought over, displaced.
So, that's classic comics. Yeah. That would be kind of cool. The only problem is there's really only 2 universes, because they have the right to play with Spidey. He's kind of like a kid in a divorce custody battle. You get some time with him. You get some time with them. Yeah. So really they ended up getting all the mutants back. They got the Fantastic Four.
It's a lot of playground. Once you get beyond just the X-Men.
But again, I don't want to involve any of that continuity. It's a mess. It doesn't really work anymore. Fun movies. I still haven't seen Dark Phoenix, the second version. I saw the first version. It was bad.
Gosh, have I seen it?
Really, I just want to see what they do with Quicksilver. He's the only character that I really enjoy.
You need his 3-minute scene.
Yeah, I need the scene where they slow it all down and do us a song. And somebody told me that's not even in this third movie. So if that's not in the movie, then I just go to YouTube and watch him do Time in a Bottle, and then Sweet Dreams Are Made of This as a clip, and I'm done.
There you go.
So I'm good with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. So there you go.
Moving from that, do you see that Tom Holland says that it is either the big secret that they are keeping from him, or he says that the other 2 guys, Tom McGuire and
are not in the movie.
Are not in the movie. All these other reports are saying yes. But he's been so bad traditionally about keeping secrets.
Here's the thing: he's gotten a little older.
Yeah,
he's not the same kid he was when he first appeared in that.
His first actual big role. I think he'd been in a couple things.
He had been, but I'm saying is he's grown up a little bit. He's starring in roles.
Yeah.
So one, he's probably been taught to learn how to keep a freaking secret, and 2, hopefully, I don't know if they lied to him or whatever. I think it's going to happen. You have too much of this stuff going on, showing how well it does. From little things like Cobra Kai, bringing in, as I said, in this 3rd season, you got the return of damn near everybody that's ever been in any of the movies showing up. And anytime we saw Skywalker showing up at the end of Mandalorian, anytime you have these kind of returns, the fans go nuts. And in this, after the success of the Miles Morales Spider-Universe movie, where's the sequel to that besides the video games?
I think
we need to be pushing that.
I'm pretty sure they are working on it.
We need to push it. That needs to happen. But seeing a live action version of that would be really, really exciting, I think. Smaller news out of that was he refused to wear a wig for the new Spider-Man movie. He had just starred as Nathan Drake in Uncharted, where Nathan has, especially this younger version of him, has this much cooler haircut, and it was kind of shaved on the sides a little bit. When he came in, they were going to put him in a Peter Parker wig so that he had, and he's like, no. Peter's old enough, and I am a star. I'm not doing it. I'm not wearing the wig, period. It's not going to happen. I don't care who you get. You get Feige at this point. You get the head of Sony. You can get whoever. I'm not going to wear the wig. And I don't think you're making the 3rd movie right now without me kind of deal. So he's not wearing it. And he's like, you know what? Peter's grown up a little bit. And yes, he's going to be a little nerdy, but he could afford to get a decent haircut at this point. Okay, he's far enough along into his high school career that maybe he wants to actually impress a girl. He can afford the haircut. So he's doing that. Now, much, much bigger news. Let's get into the one. Not Gina Davis, not Gina Torres, Gina Carano, Cara Dune, MMA fighter turned beloved Mandalorian character, Cara Dune, off the show.
Yep.
Lucasfilm has said, thank you, you're fired, you will no longer be working with us. Not only are you not working with us now, we won't be looking to work with you in the future, is what their thing said.
completely cut ties.
Oh,
and I think her
we just read
her
this
agency
morning that supposedly her talent agency has also cut her.
Have you seen the recasting push that happened? That started this morning that I saw.
I haven't seen this yet. Who are you recasting Cara Dune as?
Who would you recast? If
I would just take the character on.
That's what I'd say. Unfortunately, I thought that character could have a very good spin-off.
I thought she was going to. We all thought she was.
But so, who would you if you were going to recast her? I don't know. I'm of the mindset we're just done with that. Like, let's move on. But
I don't know. You caught me off guard.
Ooh.
I mean, I want
to
look at some WWE type folks because Sasha Banks made a good transition over to the Mandalorian as one of the Mandalorian the suit wearers and whatnot with Katie Sackhoff. So I would look at some of those guys. She's big. That's a big woman. So I would be looking at MMA people who can act, but honestly, I don't think there's that many of them.
This one's not an MMA.
Who do you got?
Lucy Lawless is who people are saying they should recast her.
Man, that's good.
I was like,
but age-wise, I think Lucy's got to be in her 50s.
Probably, I'd have to
Easily.
look it up.
I would say she's probably in her early to mid 50s would be my guess. Age-wise, I don't know that it matters because she seems to be in good shape the last couple times I've seen her. But
I think she'd have to.
Here's the thing.
You could fake it with the armor.
Do we care?
Yeah.
Do you really care about the Cara Dune? I mean, she was a good character. She could have gone on
I would have watched
to be significant.
I would have watched the spinoff if it would have ever happened.
Star Wars Space Rangers coming out or something like that. Galaxy Rangers. I don't know. There's some kind of, we're going to, it looks like they're doing Star Wars cops and they'll have some X-Wings or something in there. That's what we're guessing. And she was very likely...
It's just very shaky cop, like X-Wings pulling.
Pull over!
It's the whole Mandalorian where they pull up behind the Razor Crest and pull.
License and registration. I know my rights. You can't roll down the window.
Running through the alley.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you know what I'd watch that.
And we all thought she was probably going to have a major part, if not the starring role in that, and now she's out. But the truth is, whereas I think she could have been a significant part of the Star Wars universe, we've cut her at the point where she was an interesting character. Glad we had her. Would love to have seen more. But honestly, if that was the end of her story, then I'm okay with it. I'm not going to... I don't need
there's no cliffhanger of her character arc. So I think... Moving on, probably.
I just move on because otherwise you're going to have more controversy. You're going to have people talking about it and all this other stuff. So Lucy Lawless, I would still consider bringing in as a character.
Yeah, I think she'd.
I
don't think she's been in anything in the Star Wars universe.
I would.
They threw so many people in those last three movies that were just like random people in the background that I couldn't even name everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I was like the guy walking in the background holding the gun because I asked if I could do it, and they're like, oh, okay,
James
so you're
Bond,
now
sure you can do it. So it's not even supposedly. She got fired for tweets.
Yep.
She opened up on social media, got very political, very right wing. But it's year 2021, and you really, if you're not smart enough not to compare stuff to Nazis and Jewish concentration camps and the Holocaust at this point, then this isn't freedom of speech. This is freedom of stupidity. Okay, you got to know going into it. I don't care what political party you're with. You're not being treated as Jewish Holocaust victims. I'm sorry. That's not happening in any part of the United States of America. You can storm the Capitol and we're still not putting people onto trains to go to gas chambers and killing them by the millions. So to put that out there, and that is what she said. I read the tweet. It's not, she compared it to that. And I'm like, and she'd done some other stuff, which, whatever. Sense of humor, strange, right wing. I don't care. Entertain me, do your job, whatever. But no, as soon as you go to Nazis, Holocaust, concentration camps, we're out. You got canceled, and that's what it was. It was cancel culture, and sometimes they get it right. So we'll hear a lot about First Amendment and freedom of speech and all that. And the truth is, she had her freedom of speech. Nobody showed up on her doorstep, lined her up on a train to take her to a concentration camp to be euthanized. She got to say what she said, and she gets to live her life. Her employers, however, do not have to tolerate that, don't have to have that associated with their brand, and it can kick it to the curb. Freedom of speech isn't freedom of employment, baby. So get with it. And that's why we had the disclaimer at the beginning.
I figured.
But yeah, it was a series of stuff. It had died down, and then she came out again, and that's what really I think was the nail in the coffin. So
yeah,
I don't even think this is a get woke situation, which people try to make it into. It's not the case. This is again freedom of stupidity. You're allowed to say what you're going to say, but you need to know what some of the consequences are going to be. There you go, Gina. She's out. Old news. I don't know what she's going to do because I don't think anybody's going to touch her. Netflix isn't going to give her a show. So she's going to end up on maybe her and Nick Cage will start something together. But even I think at this point he's got enough to go. I don't think
he's got
so.
a couple. He's got an ongoing series right now.
Is that the Netflix thing with the history of cursing?
Yeah.
Croods did pretty well.
And he has a movie, I think, coming because he always has a movie coming out.
He does.
I mean, he's doing student films.
COVID don't stop Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. He's doing student films for like a place to sleep and like free ticket from the.
I think he's doing a thing I think he's playing you in the next episode of GeekStorm. He's coming in.
You should look up how much would it take to get Nick Cage here.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
I bet you there's a price, but he'd show up.
Get him to show up for the Kokomo Con. So.
Yeah, we just need you to walk through 5 minutes.
There you go. Wave. We'll get some pictures. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So there's been
why haven't they made a new National Treasure movie?
Well, there's talk actually of that.
There was talk of a series I heard at one point.
I
movie.
love National Treasure.
I do too.
I love those kind of movies.
My son loves it.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that kid.
Even the second one. He likes the second one. He was like.
You know, it's a fun movie. It's not as good as the first, but it's still a fun movie.
Yeah, the first is his favorite out of it, but like he's like. He liked the second one too.
You start off in the Arctic in a whaling boat and all that. You've nailed everything. If they throw in an underwater scuba diving element of some sort in the next movie, you've got me. I mean, you hit all my target spots.
I think you are the target audience. So
I love that stuff. So, what do you got for me?
Oh, what's the number? What's the number for Nick Cage?
Between 150,000 and 300,000, depending on what it is.
To do a guest appearance or
for coming like to Kokomo Con.
Oh, really? Yeah. All right. I mean, that's a lot of money in my world. To other people, that's probably not as big amount of money.
There's another lottery coming around, so
like for Chicago Con or some of the bigger cons, 150,000 probably isn't that much. He's going to sell his autograph for $75 to $100 a piece, maybe a little bit more. So
I bet you more.
It just comes down to
he's got to support that Superman #1 he has. Oh, and that. His plot and
I think he sold it.
Did he finally sell it?
Well, I think what happened was he owned a Superman #1. I don't know that he owned it or if he bought it with a group. I'm under the impression it got stolen.
It did.
And then he collected the insurance. They found it years later, and it was returned to him. But I don't know that it was returned to him because the collection or the insurance agency that paid off, I think, would have become the owners of it because they paid off. So
I don't know.
It's a strange situation. I don't know who has that book.
Well, I was talking about the his plot or tomb or whatever in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he owns that, and like you have to pay yearly for that.
Really?
Yeah. Ooh. Like leading into it.
Crazy. International trailer for Godzilla vs. King Kong has come out. It's a little shorter. Have you seen it yet?
I think I've seen that one.
So it features an Asian actor in more clips, who I don't know that we saw in a single clip in the standard American trailer.
I think so.
But I mean, it's called an international trailer, but it seems like it's aimed at an Asian audience. And it features a little bit more Godzilla. I want to say we see him a little bit more. We get another scene or two.
Team Kong. I'll Team Godzilla.
We see a little less Kong, and we downplay Kong big time. In the American version, they upplayed Kong a lot. And the big line is Kong kneels before no one. And this, they don't mention any of that. Kong really is played pretty low key, and Godzilla gets all the love. So you can tell, there's a west versus east side here. So it appears that you're on the east side, sir. I'll be down with my west
Biggie
side.
versus Pac all over again.
Which one am I if I'm on the west? Is that Tupac or is that Biggie?
Biggie's New York and Pac is
all right, so I'm Tupac.
LA.
I'm definitely more Biggie than a Tupac, but whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm Kong all the way, so go Kong. But it was an interesting little trailer. Again, it seemed a little shorter, and then featured those different elements.
He shoots nuclear fire. What's he gonna do? Throw poop?
Thumb. Opposable thumbs, baby. It means I can use tools and use a gun. I can use a gun against a giant lizard.
He doesn't have an opposable.
Now it's coming out that giant axe thing he's using is probably a scale from Godzilla. Have you seen that he's coming out with the axe thing? They're saying that the actual piece is very likely one of Godzilla's scales.
Learned how to
that'll be able to
learn how to make tools.
That's right.
This leads right into the new Planet of the Apes.
Another reboot? I actually didn't watch any of the last reboot. I've only ever watched the original. I've not seen the one with Mark.
I've seen the one with Mark Wahlberg, but because of that movie, I didn't watch any of the
Well, I don't think that the other three have anything to do with the Marky Mark.
I don't think they do either.
I think you have the originals, then you have the Marky Mark thing as its own standalone thing, and then the new three movies are their own thing.
Yeah, I think they 100% are, but like because of that Marky Mark movie, I didn't watch.
I've never watched it. Is it that bad?
I mean, the Charlton Heston scene. There's like 3 parts of it that are like, but you can just watch those clips on YouTube and just really.
Yeah, there's nothing about it that made me want to watch. And I like Planet of the Apes, but for whatever reason, these kind of took me out of it.
I think I was getting a call. Got a call from Social Security twice already today, letting me know that my Social Security number has been paused because it's been compromised.
Is that the new scam this week?
I guess so. I can take it up with the concern department by pressing 1.
Concern
Yeah, it was
department. That seems legit.
I also couldn't say the word Social Security correctly.
Really? Will Gina Carano be answering the telephone for that?
So I almost took it before I came here, just like, let's see how long I can keep them. I was like, I have a place to be.
Man,
so I did that one time to one scammer and kept them on for like
see how long you can go.
45 minutes.
I love it.
Before I ended it.
All right. Well, what was that our time, sir?
We have 4 left.
Oh, we got some time.
Oh,
Look, I
okay.
thought I heard your alarm.
That
or
was mine.
something.
That was mine.
Oh,
That was I'm sure my Social Security number being compromised.
Well, Critical Role fans are going to be thrilled. They are getting everything on the planet delivered to them.
What?
We have got the brand new Vox Machina comic out. The first issue of the 3rd series is out and beautifully illustrated. Looks really good. I read it. I don't know the characters well enough to know if the characters are well done. I assume they are.
Okay. Well, the characters, not knowing, were the characters well done in your eyes?
Yeah, they were fun.
Okay.
It's definitely the modern D&D Pathfinder. It's the new kids at the table, and they're getting their fill, and they're having fun with it. And yeah, it's definitely a mix of your old school kind of stuff with your new school kind of a vibe, and it works. It works really well. But not only are they getting the comic book, they've got a wealth of pre-painted premium miniatures coming out, featuring characters and monsters, things of that nature. Of course, they've got D&D official source books out now as well. We should be getting
he has written canon now. The stuff they've done is canon.
We should be getting their animated series here, I think, next year.
I can't remember.
Late this year, honestly.
Maybe
It's
the fall.
It's been making for a
Lauren
while.
would 100% know that.
So it is a treasure trove of Vox Machina Critical Role stuff. If you're a D&D fan, I don't see how this is not going to be positive news for you. If you're old school grognard, I don't see how this affects you, so quit being negative about it.
Well,
there was some controversy just recently.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Did you have something you were going somewhere?
No, I want to know your thing.
So Tracy Hickman, one of the co-creators of Dragonlance, which is probably the most known and beloved property within old school D&D, and Tracy also created Strahd, so it's kind of a big deal. He has
a couple books.
He redid a meme, sent out a meme where it showed basically the Critical Role illustration of the characters and whatnot. It's one of those things where there's 2 frames on the
panels,
meme. And so the top is those guys. It says "Reject Modernity," and the bottom shows his old school classic pose of the Dragonlance heroes around the fire at night, and it says "Go old school," or accept old school, something like that. And the internet, of course, exploded. You pissed off a rabid face of active fans who are young enough to use social media and use it and weaponize it. That's the one thing everybody needs to. You need to figure this out very quickly.
Top shelf or in a display.
Like it or not, social media has been weaponized to the point where it can control the stock market and it can destroy a career. And if you're not smart enough to see that, well, good luck in the year 2021 plus, because you're done. You will get canceled, you will get broke, you will be destroyed, because you can have all the power in the world. Coca-Cola can try to do whatever they want with the budget. If social media decides you're done, they will end you. And that's what was going on here, was a very modern, very rabid fan base who loves this stuff. Took that as
a lot
an
of them
insult.
only D&D they know.
I mean,
It's brought more people into role playing in recent years than I think really anything else.
I wonder, in a parallel universe, if the Critical Role guys had been approached by Paizo and offered money to keep playing Pathfinder, because their first entire campaign, I believe,
not the whole thing. Up until when they start Vox Machina, when they started filming it, they had just switched over to
to D&D.
To D&D
because everything that preceded that was Pathfinder. Those characters
so
were Pathfinder
they start.
characters.
I think it's level 10 they start at when they start filming.
Gotcha, because they've got a gunslinger.
Yep,
in their group. There was no D&D gunslinger when they came out. I don't know.
Matt Mercer.
I imagine there is by now.
Maybe. I mean,
but there wasn't back then.
Matt Mercer bashed a lot of
to make it happen, which is fine. But again, they went a little nuts. People tried to defend Tracy. One, he's 65 years old, and I don't believe that there was any venom behind it. He created those characters on the bottom. Yes, he wants you to like his characters. They're great characters, and I would go so far as to say you don't have the Vox Machina characters without those Dragonlance characters paving the way. If you're going to stand on the shoulder of giants. Raceland, Tanis, all those guys are D&D giants and helped make it acceptable and whatnot. Are they very, very waspy? Yes, they are. There are a lot of white characters, dwarf white characters, half elf white, a lot of white characters. I read Vox Machina today. There was a lot of white characters. I did not see a lot of ethnic background in that Vox Machina comic I read today. I don't want you to cancel me. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying what I read. Now, one guy might have been albino. Race-wise, they were all over the place. But so is Dragonlance. So it's interesting. It's a little different. A couple people tried to come to his help. I think he backed out of enough to not see his career ended or the new Dragonlance series that was getting ready to come out be destroyed. But again, if we go back to that point, and Pathfinder had been like, Paizo had been like, here's some money, keep playing our game,
have they
do the show with
the new D&D movie that they're working on? Have they said if that's going to be based on Dragonlance or Pharaoh?
Yeah, I don't believe that's going to be.
I think it's just going to be generic.
I think it's going to be generic. I mean, it's definitely not going to be Dragonlance. They would have announced something about that. My worry there is, and we've discussed it on here before, is I'm afraid it's going to be a comedy. Because if you read the original press release, there's some wording in it.
So it's going to be the first D&D movie all over again?
Well, that wasn't supposed to be a comedy. That was just low budget. This, I think, is going to be made by people who are trying to do some tongue-in-cheek stuff with it.
Just give it to Netflix or HBO or
somebody.
Something.
But we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm wrong. But yeah, again, I'd have to go back. It's been a while. But the wording on it used a vocabulary that did not make me think heavy drama, action, suspense. Definitely made me go, you're going to throw in some jokes. And Chris Pine, if he's in it, Chris Pine does comedy incredibly well. He's very, very funny. But that's not what I think we want to see. That's not what D&D players want to see.
You want more of like the one offhand joke.
Yeah, I want you to break the tension just like in a Marvel movie.
Yeah. But it's not. It shouldn't be a whole.
I want an Indiana Jones / Uncharted experience with a D&D thing. I want there to be action, adventure, suspense. I want there to be a deep storyline. I want the characters to have some development. And I want it to be fun, yes. But I also don't want it to be slapstick comedy with Three Stooges and bad jokes and what's his face, who was so great in Alien Covenant. Eastbound and Down guy.
I've not seen Alien Covenant, so.
You haven't seen Eastbound and Down?
I've not seen Eastbound and Down.
How about the Foot Fist Way?
Are you talking about
that guy?
Mustache.
Yeah.
God, what is his name?
Well, see, when you're on here, it's not that easy. When you're out there, you're like, it's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when you're on the spot, it's not so easy. But yes, he's great.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see that kind of slapstick comedy. Because he did something with Franco.
Yeah.
Where they did a
fantasy thing.
with a
it
bunch
had
of weed
Natalie
jokes
Portman.
Yeah. I want to see that. And I didn't watch that. So, I mean, I'm all for making it. Yeah, was it funny? But would you have preferred a D&D movie with some action adventure?
You know what I prefer? A D&D series.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, as you just pointed out earlier today, longer form on this sort of stuff works really well.
It's
Game of Thrones should have proven that to people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that long, drawn-out thing.
In my mind, a D&D TV show is The Mandalorian mixed with your Game of Thrones. put that together, and I think that's a D&D thing.
I like how he just throws out, like, mixed with Game of Thrones. He's never seen Game of Thrones.
I haven't, but
He's never even read the books.
Now tell me this: saying that Mandalorian, Game of Thrones put together D&D show. Am I wrong?
That's going to be an interesting combination. I mean, Game of Thrones is D&D-esque as it is.
But it was adult.
It's definitely going to be a very adult show.
It's adult. It was violent. There was things in it like that nature. It would work.
Yeah.
Now, if they want to turn around at the same time and do a Netflix D&D cartoon so that kids can have something to watch
We'll bring back the original. I almost wore my...
I don't know why you don't bring back the original.
brought back my Dungeon Master
Everything
shirt
else
today.
that's being redone, why would you not bring back the D&D cartoon right now?
Remake
Think how cheap that would be.
I bet you they're not remaking that right now because of the Vox Machina thing. The animated.
What do I care? Honestly, at this point...
They don't. I think
Vox Machina is not going to not make money.
I guess here's a bigger
if nothing
question.
happens, but their fans watch it. That's enough of a fan base to keep that show on the air.
Does this worry you about Wizards? That all of those upper management, CEO, and all those people left this last week.
Oh, did they? No, I didn't hear about this.
So there has been a rumor that Mattel is going to sell off Wizards.
Okay.
They may keep Magic. Because
that's the
thing. It's like that was the debate. Like there's been a couple different rumors of that they're going to dump Wizards.
Magic makes money. It's been printing money for 20 plus years now. It's probably 25 years that Magic's been printing money. Now, yes, are they in a downturn right now? I would have to think so. With social distancing and Friday night Magic leagues probably being curtailed all across the world, that's probably hurt. But as soon as that's over, think of the piranha-like 1970s bad movie feeding frenzy that's going to happen. Man, people are going to go back in droves to that stuff.
Yeah.
There are certain elements that this pandemic are going to break.
Yeah.
People have broken some habits. How many of those will they go back to? How many of those will they keep avoiding? We don't know. But I think something like Friday Night Magic,
they'll come back.
I think it's going to come back, and I think it's going to come back stronger than ever.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I've seen reports whether they keep it or they sell it, but there's nothing
but a ton
confirmed.
of people left, is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 people that left.
Some of the big.
Did you look at that?
Didn't everybody in D&D Beyond leave?
Yeah, I think it was like all the heads of D&D Beyond.
What's D&D Beyond? I don't
D&D
know
Beyond is like the thing that has made one of the big things that pushed D&D.
Really?
Yeah, it is what made it's their online tool set. It's what makes it all super easy. When you get the book, you can put the code in. You have access to the digital book as you play. They're the sponsors. D&D Beyond is the sponsors of Critical Role.
Gotcha.
They're the main sponsor. They're the ones that dump truck the money to them.
Gotcha.
It's what they use on the show to run it.
Makes me very curious then.
So it was like
is 5th edition open licensed at all?
That
Because I see a ton of stuff coming out for 5th edition, which makes me think it might be open license.
Maybe it is now, or they made it. It definitely seemed like there was all of a sudden a switch. There was nothing 5th edition, nothing 5th edition, or very little. I felt like 5th edition. Then all of a sudden, like last year and a half-ish, 2 years maybe, all of a sudden like a switch flipped, and all of a sudden 5th edition.
I'm seeing a ton of third-party type stuff every day. I'm getting emails about new product and whatnot. So makes me think that there's some kind of licensing thing, which is how we got Pathfinder from 3.5.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if these guys didn't see the writing on the wall and they're like, you know what? We can do this. We can easily make D&D 5.5.
Yeah, I just don't know who you sell Wizards to.
Amazon?
Even if it's just the D&D, yeah, I mean, Amazon has to have actually an interest. I mean, Amazon has interest in Critical Role because it makes them money.
Disney just got rid of their Sorcerer game in Disney World. You could walk in at the fire station, you would get cards, you go around and battle. They just got rid of that. So
heartbroken.
If they were going to do some kind of magic thing, and if anybody's got the money to keep this thing quiet and then buy it, Disney could. Magic the Gathering and D&D coming underneath that.
And Amazon could do it.
I mean, they could, but it's in. I could see this being in Disney's best interest. Now, D&D might be a toughie with their persona and what they want to put out there.
I mean, with everything they own now,
Disney is buying Wizards of the Coast.
You're calling it?
I'm calling it. Disney's buying it. It might be under a different division or something like that.
They own people just think of
Alien, Predator. Those are very adult.
They just greenlit a new not Daredevil, Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
So
rated R though?
Supposedly.
So
because Ryan Reynolds said he'd only do it if it was rated R.
Okay.
So
So we'll see. That's my call. Wizards of the Coast is being purchased by Disney. Pull that out of my ass, but I'm going with it. I feel good about it. What do you got, sir?
One thing I could find was the D&D Beyond people leaving, and the rumor possibility is that Darrington Press, the Critical Role company,
Uh-huh.
is going to put out their own role-playing game, and they're gathering people who know how to do that.
So is it they're selling, or is someone like internal breaking off and they're coming up with their own? I'm interested to know that because I think that drastically affects.
I mean,
People
again,
who left said they got an offer they could not refuse.
the only people so again, Disney has that kind of money, and Critical Role has that kind of pull with that audience right now.
Yeah.
They could pull it off. I mean, they've already tested it a few times. They had enough of their stuff made canon. Woo! All right, we are on D&D Watch now. It's on.
D&D Watch.
Watching. We're gonna keep up on this. I think that's
I
it.
can't believe you didn't know any of that.
I mean, honestly, I've been hit with a lot of stuff this week, so I've been a little out of the loop.
We are happy to assist.
But yeah. All right, everybody. That is GeekStorm for the week. Thank you so much for checking it out. If you've got any hate mail you want to send it straight to City Hall. They'll figure out where it goes. Be groovy.